Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dig into some of the really powerful ideas from Morgan Housel's amazing book, The Psychology of Money.
So let's start with a puzzle, one that, trips up a lot of people. How is it possible that someone can be super educated, like a genius in their field, but still be, well, terrible with money?
And then you've got the total opposite, right? We've all heard stories about people with basically zero formal financial training who end up becoming incredibly rich. So what's their secret? What do they know that the super smart folks are missing?
Well, this quote right here, this is pretty much the entire book in a nutshell. Being good with money, it has less to do with how smart you are and almost everything to do with how you behave.
And that's really the big paradox, isn't it? We're kind of trained to think money is a math problem, all spreadsheets and complex formulas. But the truth? It's way more like psychology.
Yeah, so the things that really steer the ship when it comes to our finances, it's not the numbers. It's our feelings, our personal stories, those little habits we don't even think about, and these deep-seated beliefs we have about what money even is. They're the ones pulling the strings.
Okay, so the first big idea to wrap your head around is this. No one is crazy. Everyone's financial worldview is totally unique, shaped by their own story. And this is so important. Something that looks like a totally crazy money move to me might make perfect sense to you. Why? Because our life experiences are just different.
Okay, think about it like this. If you grow up without much, you probably see money as a survival tool, right? So you're going to be super careful, you're going to avoid risk. But if you grew up with plenty, you might see money as a tool for creating opportunities, so taking risks feels normal. See? Neither one is wrong or crazy. They're just acting based on their own personal history.
And man, this quote is just such a humbling reminder. It's so easy to think that the way we've experienced the world is the only way the world works. But it's not. It's just a tiny, tiny slice. And when we forget that, that's when we can get into real trouble with our decisions.
All right, so beyond our own personal stories, there's another big factor at play, and it's a tough pill for a lot of us to swallow. It's the fact that we're just not always in control.
I mean, we love to think that success is all about smarts and hard work, and that failure is about being lazy or making bad choices. But the reality is, luck and risk are always there, like these silent partners in everything we do. Sometimes you're just in the right place at the right time, or the wrong one.
Just imagine, right? Two people start basically the same business. They're both smart, they both work hard. One of them gets huge because the market suddenly takes off. Pure luck. The other one fails because a recession hits out of nowhere. That's risk. The point is, recognizing this helps you stay humble when you win and be a little easier on yourself when you don't. Okay, now let's talk about one of the most dangerous behaviors when it comes to money. It's this trap of never enough. You know, that feeling that's driven by looking at what other people have, or let's be honest, just plain old greed.
So picture this. You have $10 million. $10 million. Is that enough? I mean, for most of us, that's a gigantic yes. But you'd be surprised. For some people, that's just the beginning.
Yeah, the book tells these wild stories about people who had more than enough. I mean, they were set for life, but they lost everything. And you ask yourself why? Because they couldn't stop. They took these insane risks just to get more. The goalpost just kept moving.
So the real lesson here is that knowing when you have enough, that's an actual skill. It's like a financial superpower. Being able to say, okay, this is good, I can stop now, is a behavior that'll protect you way more than chasing the next big thing.
And all of this leads us to what might be the single most powerful, but also the most overlooked way to build wealth. It's a behavior we all know but find really hard to practice: patience. Just look at this. This is the magic of compounding, right here. For the first 10, 20 years, the growth is, it's okay, it's steady. But then, bam! Look at what happens in those last couple of decades. It just explodes. And that's not because you got smart and timed the market. Nope. It's just because you stuck around.
This is the engine of wealth, right here. Compounding is literally your money-making babies. And then those babies grow up and make their own babies. It feels painfully slow at the start, but give it enough time and it turns into this incredible, unstoppable force. And what's the fuel for this engine? Just waiting.
Look, we're all human. We're wired for instant gratification. We want results now. But that impulse, that need for a quick win, that's a trap.
It's a behavior that almost always leads to bad outcomes. Real wealth, the kind that lasts, it's almost always built slowly, really slowly. Okay, so let's tie this all together. What's the main takeaway? It's that your behavior is everything. It's about understanding your own weird psychology with money, making peace with the fact that luck and risk are real, knowing when to stop chasing more, and most importantly, just letting time do its thing.
And that leaves us with one last question, probably the most important one. It's not about trying to predict what the stock market is going to do next week. Nah. It's about looking in the mirror and asking yourself, what's secretly driving my decisions with money?